Read a book every day for small children. Hey, awesome readers, let's read this book, Peppa Visits Santa. It was nearly Christmas. Peppa and her family were going on their first trip to the North Pole, where Santa lives. Peppa and George were very excited. Do you think we'll see Santa, Daddy? Asked Peppa. Ho ho ho! Well, he's a busy man this time of year, explained Daddy Pig. But perhaps if we are really lucky. I hope we are, said Peppa. Santa, agreed George. At the North Pole, Peppa and her family had a surprise when they collected the skis for their trip. Miss Rabbit, said Mummy Pig, I didn't know you worked here. Oh yes, said Miss Rabbit, I love working at the North Pole. You never know when you might spot you know who. Mummy, who do I know? Asked Peppa as the family set off on their skis. I think Miss Rabbit meant Santa, replied Mummy Pig. Look at the view, said Daddy Pig when they got to the top of the big mountain. And those footprints, added Mummy Pig. I wonder who they belong to. Maybe they are Santa's, said Peppa. Let's follow them. Suddenly, the wind blew up a flurry of glittering snowflakes. Peppa reached out and caught one. That's lucky, Peppa, said Daddy Pig. Why don't you make a wish? Peppa closed her eyes and whispered, I wish to meet Santa. The snowy footprints led them down from the top of the mountain and deep, deep into the icy valleys of the North Pole. At last, the trail stopped at a little wooden cottage. Ho, ho, ho! Boomed a voice. Welcome, Peppa and George. I've been expecting you. Wow, it's you. No, who? Said Peppa. Ho, ho, ho. You've seen Miss Rabbit then, said Santa. Yes, it's really me. Peppa and George were amazed. But how do you know our names? Peppa asked. I know all the children who believes in the magic of Christmas, he replied. Santa pulled out his list. I also know you and George have been very good this year, he added. Peppa and George grinned with pride. Santa invited Peppa and her family into his cottage to warm themselves by the fire. Now who likes stories? He asked, settling into his armchair. We do, Peppa, George, Mummy and Daddy Pig replied. Ho ho ho, boomed Santa. I thought you would say that. Then I shall begin. And he told them all about his best Christmas adventures, delivering presents to children far and wide all around the world. Peppa and George couldn't believe their ears. When Santa had finished his story, he smiled at Peppa and George and said, I think it's time for you to make your Christmas wishes. I know, said Peppa. I wish to meet your reindeer, please. Outside, Peppa enjoyed feeding the reindeer and stroking their velvety nose. But something else had caught George's eye. Sleigh, yeah! He cried. I think George's wish is to ride your sleigh, said Peppa. Very well, young George, said Santa. Your wish is granted. Hop in, everyone. Daddy Pig wasn't sure about going so high up in the sleigh. Ho ho ho! Boomed Santa. Don't worry, Daddy Pig, you will be perfectly safe. Now who would like to steer?
Sleigh, yay!
Replied George, taking the reins.
Yay!
Cheered Peppa.
Look, Daddy, another amazing view.
Oh, groaned Daddy Pig, squeezing his eyes shut. Ho ho ho! What fun, Santa said. You made 3 excellent wishes, Peppa and George, but let's talk presents. Is there anything special you would like?
Ooh, a green yo-yo for me, please,
said Peppa.
And I know George would like a red toy car.
Consider it done, replied Santa.
Thank you, Santa,
said Peppa. It was time to go, but Santa had one more surprise for Peppa and George. A special Christmas stocking each. Don't forget to hang these up on Christmas Eve, he said. And promise to leave me a mince pie, please.
And carrots for the reindeer,
said Peppa.
We'll remember. Thank you, Santa.
Peppa and her family zoomed off, chatting about their magical time at the North Pole.
I wonder why Santa laughed and said, 3 excellent wishes.
How did he know I wished to meet him? Peppa said. Because Santa knows everything, explained Daddy Pig. Back at home, Peppa and her family were spending Christmas at Granny and Grandpa Pig's house. In the kitchen, they stirred the Christmas pudding and made a wish.
We are excellent at wishes,
said Peppa.
Santa told us when we met him at the North Pole.
Goodness, said Granny Pig. What lucky children you are. Later, Grandpa Pig helped Peppa and George put a snack out for Santa and carrots for the reindeer, just like they promised. Before bed, Peppa and George hung up their special Christmas stockings from Santa.
Santa does know where Granny and Grandpa live, doesn't he?
said Peppa. Yes, Peppa, don't worry, replied Mummy Pig. Santa knows everything, remember? Now sleep well. On Christmas Day, Peppa and George woke up very early, and so did everyone else. There were lots of colorful presents under the Christmas tree.
Hooray! Santa's been,
said Peppa. Peppa and her family opened lots of lovely presents, but Peppa couldn't see the one she'd asked Santa for, and the special stockings were empty too.
I suppose he does have a lot to do,
said Peppa, sighing.
And he's very old, he probably forgot.
Even older than us, said Granny Pig with a laugh. Ha 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 ha. Everyone was tucking into their delicious Christmas pudding when Granny Pig asked, By the way, what was your pudding wish, Peppa and George?
We wished everyone a very Merry Christmas,
replied Peppa. Well, that has definitely come true, said Mummy Pig, chuckling. George thought he had heard sleigh bells, so he ran off to investigate. Peppa found him by the Christmas tree with a red toy car.
That's funny,
she said.
We must have missed these before.
Peppa opened her present and it was a green yo-yo, just like she asked for.
Yay! Thank you, Santa,
said Peppa. It looks like Santa don't forget your special presents after all, said Mummy Pig. Or the stockings, said Daddy Pig. Look! And everyone watched as the stocking magically filled with sweets amidst a flurry glittering snowflakes. Peppa reached out and caught one.
I love Santa,
She said.
Santa,
Agreed George. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas! Peppa and George love Santa. Everyone loves Santa.